Hi, and welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name is Jenny Senaparatna. Grab your favorite drink and a snack, and we will get started. Today, I'm drinking English breakfast tea, and I have some cherries. Well, happy birthday to me. Yes, it is that time of year, the time of year that I dread all year long, birthday season. Most people around this time of the year are like, ick, it's back to school, and all that kind of it's fun, but it's not fun. There's all the going and getting clothes and getting school supplies and all the stress of actually sending your kids to school or if you're a teacher getting ready for school, so much stress. But for me, it is my birthday this next few weeks. So a year ago, I did a podcast called Birthdays of Life. It's actually my most popular podcast, which is very bizarre because it's not my favorite podcast, but that's okay. So I did a whole episode about how much I dislike birthdays. And it has not changed. I'll be completely honest with you. There is no love here for birthdays on my end still. I'm still not a big fan. But I wanted to do an episode, Birthdays 2.0, really to talk about what I learned over this year. So I set my goals from birthday to birthday. September 2nd to September 2nd. Not from January to January, September 2nd to September 2nd. So I actually, before this podcast started, I started looking for my list of my goals for 44 years. And guess what? I can't find my list. I know, it's so bizarre. I just am so bad at keeping notebooks. I'm sure it's in a notebook somewhere, and I'll find it the minute I'm done recording. But as of this point, I want to talk a little bit about what I've learned. And so one of my big 44 was to take a personal retreat. Yeah, I didn't do that. I did finish my book. That was one of the things I wanted to do, is to finish up the book that I was writing about a year ago, and I have done that. It's been published, and it's selling, and it's going great. The Unnamed Zookeeper, for those, for that little marketing plug there. And I absolutely loved it. And this year, I really, really hope, because I have a couple more books inside my heart that I really want to share with people. And so I'm really hoping to get that next book started. Maybe not finished, but I really want to get it started. I'm really excited about some of the things that God has been sharing with me that I am excited to put down on paper again. One of the other things that I put together was I wanted to go to 44 new restaurants or 44 new recipes. Well, of course, I did not try 44 new recipes. I only have one that was successful this year, and that was my sweet and sour meatballs that I found in a cookbook. And honestly, it is one of the best recipes I've ever found for sweet and sour anything. And so I grill chicken now, and I make sweet and sour chicken, and it is so good with some homemade cheese wontons. Oh my goodness, it's just really, it's so much better than what you buy at the store or the Chinese restaurant, because I'm not a big batter person. I really like the chicken. So having grilled chicken and some sweet and sour sauce, oh my goodness. Anyway, now I'm like, that's what we need to have for dinner. One of the other things that I really decided to put on there was 44 books. Now, I am very dyslexic. And before I got married, I'd actually never read through a full book. I know it's some of you that are book lovers just kind of died a little inside and are like, what in the world, Jenny? I really didn't read books. It was not something that was ever on my radar. When I was a kid, would take picture books and make up the story. I never actually read the books. I made up the story. I think the books were probably more interesting the way I did them than the way they actually are written. But, that's okay. So my husband, when we first got married, knew that I was dyslexic and had a love for books himself and decided to share it with me. And since we didn't have a lot going on, we moved into a small town of 150 people. And we were pastoring, and we had no entertainment and no friends, and we were all alone. We would sit on the couch, a hot pink couch, and he would read me Frank Peretti. And it was my first introduction to books. And it really changed my life. I started listening to books, listening to the Bible. Can you imagine how difficult, you can imagine how difficult it is to read the Bible, but add dyslexia on top of that really can make it super confusing. And so I started listening to it and falling in love with the Word of God. So if the Bible's a little overwhelming to you, I suggest listening to it. It really clarifies a lot, and you'll hear things that you've never read before. Anyway, there's my little plug for that. But I started listening to books right after we left that town, and it changed my life. And so last year, I set a goal of reading 44 books in the year from September to September. And I am pleased to announce, yay, drum roll please, that as of today, I've read 101 books. If you would have told me even a year ago or 5 years ago that I would read 101 books in a year, I would have laughed at you. And I read books. Like, I didn't just listen to books, I read them. I made the goal this year that I really wanted to sit down and read and take that time, and it has been the best thing I've ever decided. We so rarely carve out time for ourselves to do things that we love, that was a blessing in disguise. I never thought that when I set the book goal of 44 that I'd even reach it, let alone go way past it. And yes, I've listened to quite a few of those books, but most of those books are 10 to 13 hours each. And I have carved time out at night instead of doing other crazy things that just kind of drain my time. I have spent time listening to things that really have brought me joy, which is so weird that that's exciting. But one of the things this year is I really wanted to make some new goals. So one of the things about 15 years ago is I made a bucket list. It is 101 things. I know, 101 things I wanted to do before I died. And no, I'm still 44. I have plenty of time before I'm even 45. I'm not, I'm maybe halfway through life. It matters on, how long the Lord gives me. But I have plenty of time. But I have this bucket list that I started 15 years ago when I was pregnant with Samantha, I believe, of 103 things. One of those things was to make pickles or relish. My grandmother was the best at canning foods. Like, she had more cans when she died than it was actually kind of incredibly embarrassing how much she had. She had so much frozen fruit from her garden and vegetables from her garden. Like, she was a canning and preserving guru. And she taught me for a short period. Well, one time she taught me how to pickle and make relish. She made the best carrot relish out there. I wish someone made it and I didn't have to do it, but that's on my list for 45. This year, I am going to can. I'm going to put something in a jar and preserve it. And I'm hoping it's relish or pickles. And cross that thing off my bucket list that I've had on there for 15 years. I actually had something on my bucket list, and it was to see Peyton Manning go into the Hall of Fame, and he did that this year, and I did not go because I looked up the tickets, and I was like, yeah, that's getting scratched off the list because it's way too expensive. Love you, Peyton. Not coming because it was like $100 a person, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Not that big into football anymore. So this year, I am hoping to plan a personal retreat. I'm really hoping I can follow through. Last year, I had 2 days, all year long, 365 days, that I was alone because we are together all the time. My husband works at home, I work at home, and my daughter now homeschools, which honestly was one of the best decisions we've ever made. I love homeschool. Ask me about it if you see me, because I just absolutely love homeschooling. It's been fantastic. If you never thought dyslexic mom teaching homeschool, kind of crazy, but it has been great for her and really great for us. But I have not been alone except for those 2 days that I basically forced my husband to go to a prayer event and said, please go to this prayer event. I need some time alone. This year, I would love to go somewhere. Not anywhere crazy like some of my friends that have no internet and have no bathrooms. I like to go somewhere where there's a hot tub, somewhere where I can order pizza, and maybe even watch a movie or two, which leads me to my next goal. And this is a goal that maybe seems a little extravagant. I don't know. Maybe it's not for like those of you that are like, come on, Jenny, get your life together. About 2 years ago, I had a huge surgery to remove kidney stones from my kidney. My kidney was completely full, from corner to corner, full of kidney stones. And so they had to remove it. And it was a very extensive surgery, right? And during this surgery, I spent 5 days in the hospital afterwards for recovery. And nowadays, that's kind of a lot of time. Well, after I got home, my husband gave me a challenge to watch 20 movies in the period of time that I had off from work. And I remember thinking, like, that's not going to be that hard. It was not easy. Because we just don't take time to carve out that much. We don't take 3 hours to sit and do nothing. I mean, sometimes we do because we're spending time with somebody else, or we're, going to a movie theater with a friend and they have great movie popcorn. Oh, yeah. That's kind of the big deal for me. But to spend 3 hours on something that I just want to watch seemed a little extravagant. But I realized this year with my book reading that I needed to add some time in the evenings, because I don't read in the evenings. Once the lights go out, I have a hard time reading with my dyslexia. So I've been listening to books. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to allow myself to watch some movies. 45 of them this year. So maybe once a week, carve out a 3-hour period of time. If you're watching a Hallmark movie, an hour and a half, woo, and it's a good ending, of time for me just to do something that I enjoy. I know it's a little weird, right? But I really feel like as adults, maybe there's some teenagers here that are listening, start doing this now. Carving out time isn't something that we do very well. In fact, I was watching a show the other day. It's a crafting show, and if you know me, you know I love crafts, and I love to watch crafts, and I love to do crafts. It was a really fun crafting show, and this lady with disability was talking about how she spent her entire life bullying herself. Other people could not be nearly as mean as she was to herself, her self-talk, and she decided to stop the bullying. And I went, oh my goodness, this is so my life. I'm actually going to do a whole podcast on it another day, because I am still struggling with it because my self-talk is ridiculously negative. But we do not take care of ourselves. And so for my birthday this year, you have 2 weeks from when you listen to this podcast to take an hour to do something that you enjoy. What do you love? What is something that brings you joy that you just don't take the time to do? Whether that's like one of my friends goes to Target. She used to get a cherry Coke and just walk around Target and just enjoy what was at Target. Not looking for toilet paper, not looking for her kids this or her kids that, or a lunch meat or anything like that. Just walking around and enjoying Target. They have Starbucks. Get a Starbucks. Walk around Target. That's not really my happy place because they took away the cherry Cokes. But what is something that you enjoy that you do not give yourself permission to do? Would you this next week carve out an hour, just 1 hour in the next 2 weeks for something that you love? Talk to the people in your life and say, hey, I just need an hour. And during that hour, I'm going to do and fill in the blank. Whether it's sitting down and reading a book with a great cup of tea, or it's going to the beach and taking a long walk. We have a couple more days in Minnesota to do that. What is it that really will bring you joy? And the thought of that may inspire some new goals for you, some new ways of taking care of yourself. I believe that the Lord's grace and mercy are in those quiet times. You don't necessarily need to be seeking after God in those quiet times for him to come and show you his presence and his love and his grace. Because when we're quiet and when we're doing things that we love is when you can see God a little bit better and see his love beyond your current circumstances. Life is crazy. We're heading into the fall. It's crazy pants time. And then right after fall and back to school, it's Thanksgiving and it's Christmas, and then let's just keep on going with all the things that are going to be happening. There's so much that we try to cram into such a short period of time. I encourage you these next 2 weeks to take time for yourself. And maybe after that hour, maybe you make a goal from September to September to do some things for yourself, like I am. Like trying to do a personal retreat, which we know will never happen, but it's great to have for a goal. Try to read more books. Try to watch more movies. Yes, I have other things on my list that I'm not mentioning that are kind of healthy and have to do with the podcast and, other things that are like work related, those kind of pieces. Like you have to have those kind of goals, or do you? Or can you just make fun goals of like, I'm going to try 45 new restaurants this year. I am going to try 45. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of restaurants this year. Hopefully my friends will help me out and we can have a lot of lunches and dinners. So let's start planning those. You get to pick because I hate to decide on restaurants. One of my least favorite things in the world to do. That and the happy birthday song. Those 2 things and spiders. There we go. My 3 least favorite things in the world. Well, that is all I have today. Happy birthday to me. I can't believe we're already here. Almost to 45, but not quite yet. Not till that little day clicks over. And this year, for the first time I don't even know I've ever had it, because my birthday, I don't work at a school. I don't have a kid that goes to school, and my birthday is not on school. And I'm not going, oh my goodness, there's so much. I am taking a vacay for my birthday. It was an accident, complete accident, that things got booked on my birthday, but I'm super excited to be gone for my birthday. So you have to celebrate for me by taking that hour in these next 2 weeks. I'm taking a full week. So I can't even believe I'm doing that. That's crazy. It's not even a work vacation, guys. It's a real vacation. Like no internet. It's going to be amazing. Anyway. You can find me at Real Life with Jenny on Instagram and Facebook. We would love for you to come join our community there. Or you can find me at christconnection.cc/Jen. Now, I cannot wait to hear all about what you are spending your hour on, and if you've made new goals of ways to take care of yourself. You all have a blessed week.